Publisher of the Buffalo News. Its vice chair is Howard Zemsky, and there are representatives from throughout many walks of life. Our charge is to find new life for a magnificent old place, a National Historic Landmark, the H.H. Richardson, Frederick Law Olmsted designed and Kirkbride-inspired Buffalo State Asylum for the Insane. It has a 150-year-plus proud tradition of believing originally what was not believed prior to New York State stepping up to the plate, that mental illness could be cured. And it could be cured by giving people a highly designed physical and natural setting in which to realign their lives. That's the inspiration going forward. We're working with a neighborhood and community advisory board, and more details about the planning effort will be available across the street at at the Rockwell Hall on July 14th at 6 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. Go to richardsonolmsted.com for further details. The biggest achievement of the past year has been completing an historic structures report. You need to know what you have before you begin to change it to what it could be. The historic structures report had two components. One was an enormous volume of information about the 480,000 square feet of originally designed, intact, National Historic Landmark structures that are made out of Medina sandstone and brick, and a cultural landscape report that described what is remaining of the original Olmsted landscape. Olmsted and Richardson, two of the greatest Americans, collaborated for the first time and the most significantly right here across the street in Buffalo in creating this asylum. Much of what they did is still intact, and for those of us who grew up in the shadow of the towers, we saw that the buildings are remarkably intact. The big surprise for all of us involved is how much of the original Olmsted landscape is still there and what genius of his it embodies. We are this year undertaking the stabilization and repair of the structures. This culminates in 15 or 20 years of efforts to begin to stop the bleeding, so to speak. So you will see, starting this summer, reconstruction and repair of many of the worst conditions of the building and the site. Why is this so important? It is important because if you picture the woman in the moon looking down at Buffalo, you would see a east-west crossed axis linking the Niagara River to the, or west-east axis, to the Delaware Park. And we are on that east-west axis. The most beautiful Olmsted Park as part of the most extensive Olmsted Parkway system in America, with one of the most significant rivers in human history. And then you look and draw another axis from Buffalo State College to Buffalo City Hall, along which is the Elmwood District, one of the most desirable and valuable places to live in all of Western New York. The missing piece where those two axes cross, where that T comes together, is this 90 acres that is the gap that will be filled to unite all of those assets and be the center point for all those good things that we've inherited from the past. This will end up being a $500 million reinvestment in the center point of so many good things we've inherited from our past, such as the Olmsted Parkway and Parks system. So much good work going on in the future, such as what Buffalo Niagara Riverkeeper is doing. the brain power in an increasingly significant Buffalo State College, and the quality of life of the Elmwood corridor. If we get this right, we will unleash all of that power to make this one of the most significant places to live in North America. And we will incorporate all incomes from Reese Street to Pennhurst Parkway, from incoming students at University of Buffalo seeing our community for the first time, perhaps being outside of their own neighborhood for the first time in their lives, to those of us who may someday have a condo at Richardson and live amidst all of this wealth in our years when we have time to enjoy them all. So this is what, under the leadership of Stanford Lipsey, Howard Zemsky, and other, Muriel Howard, other good people are putting together, that gets me so excited to spend my time as a volunteer to help make this happen. As I was a kid growing up in that neighborhood, learning to ride a bicycle for the first time at about age 5. Back then, your mother could let you roam the neighborhood at will, which I did. I found that place on my bicycle, and I said, someday I'll fix all this. So for me personally, I think that's a touching story, but each one of us who grew up here has a similar story, and I hope in future years you'll be here telling of your opportunity to fulfill your childhood vision of why this is such a special place and how to make it even better. Richardson Olmsted Complex is just one of many opportunities to do that. Please stay tuned. Hope to see you July 14th. Thank you.